G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive brought to you by betfair.com.au and puntingform.com.au. We're going to use Betfair's betting data to talk about what the betting did over the weekend. We're going to talk about the data and how slow they went at Bendigo and how that affected each race, or the main races. And we're going to start with some fascinating betting which took place on Friday night at Racing.com Park. In race 7, a horse called Commando Miss, trained by Shade and ridden by Joel McNeil, was $4, $3.80, sometimes I think it might have touched $3.60, out to 12s on the fair late punters. You do not see a drift like that ever, or very rarely. And it, for the second time in its career, first up, when it was very, very soft late in betting too, it was ridden completely cold, sneaked heavy and run into arses. The horse was given none. It looked like it had none. The market told you it had less than none. And in the steward's report, I was eagerly waiting on Saturday morning to see what they'd say. Because obviously they'd talk about it. You've got to talk about it. It's funding the industry. It's wagering, so it's important. Commando Miss hampered near the 150 when Hoodie shifted out before being straightened. Now, I've inquired to see if anything else was done about this horse. I'll keep you all posted because I'm interested. I'm sure everyone else is in this industry. Just to see what might have happened to you. Was the horse missing a leg? Blah, 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 blah. Surely they're investigating. Now, Peter, how are you, mate?
I'm very relaxed. As you can see, I'm at the beach. Just ready to go for a nice deep dive after.
I can't see it, actually. All I can see is PVL. He looks a bit like the guy out of the villain out of James Bond. You know, like the one who like takes on London and they go and kill him out in Scotland. You know that one? I don't know what that Bond's called, but that's the one he looks like. Black. Bendigo, Peter. What a meeting. What a meeting. We managed to just lose after being in front most of the day. Would have been fat if Coin Collector had got there, who looked like a moral about the 800-metre mark, but just missed the run. Couldn't really get it on. It was in a great spot. Then as they moved around him, they weren't in a good spot. We were on Hey Mighty there too at 21, so it was a frustrating race, pretty frustrating day. And then when you look back at the data, Peter, it's a pretty frustrating little session looking at this data. Race 1 punters, they went 2.2 lengths faster than the all-average benchmark. Race 2, 5.7 slow. Race 3, 0.8 fast, which is slow. Race 4, 3.3 slow. Race 5, 6.6 slow. Race 7, 6.4 slow. The Bendigo Guineas, 14.1 slow, punters. It's incredibly slow. They can't go much slower than that. Hellova Street went 0.4 slow to the 600, and Big Night Out's race, they went 11.7 slow to the 600. An absolute walkathon there at Bendigo on a very tricky track where it looked like the jockeys wanted to be away from the fence around the circle, but as they cornered, you didn't want to be much wider than 3 horses anyway. And then in a straight, it looked like it was pretty hard to run on out wide, but you could make good ground along the fence and up the inside. So very tricky track, hard meeting to assess and review. But we've done our best, and we're going to give you some of it right now. Peter, what should we talk about first?
Oh, look, we'll start with race 6, the gold bracelet. We'll run through the quaddy legs because, well, we've got to talk about something, surely. Snogging, first up, Busted and Young. Could find it. Tripod Walker, just as you said, saved that bit of ground, didn't he?
I think it's like, I've spoken about this a fair bit. If Michael Walker leads, he's going to go slower than hell, and you don't want to be near it. But if Michael Walker sits in the pack, your horse is almost always going to get an opportunity. He's a courageous rider, and he gets the most out of him in that setup. He was very good on Friday night when a horse missed the kick. I actually have a question about that, which we'll get to right away. Hey, Pete, it's from a movers punter, I think, or a Manny O'Male punter, about handling the in-play betting, what you do if a horse gets back off the speed. Now, to quickly just answer it, the in-play market's changed a lot since no one's on course or less people are on course. There's definitely some snipers out there. But the market's overreacting to horses that are missing the kick at the moment. So I'd be the other way, and I'd be suggesting you could sort of back a horse if you liked it early in the race, and then I wouldn't be betting again. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you certainly have to make a call early. I'm not sure there's any point trying to back things too late because we're seeing a lot of horses over-exaggerate. You're getting your radio punters tuning in as well, and some of those prices are going off really strong. almost to the point where they're just absurd. So I'm sure there's a few very clever cookies at the moment that are doing quite well from in play, especially without the on-course punters.
Yeah, the horse that the Lambings that Mick Walker won on Friday night missed the kick. It was well back first starter, and it missed the kick, and it went out to like $8-9 in runs straight away, and then ended up winning. So yeah, the market's definitely overacting, in my opinion. Back to Bendigo, the riddle me that race. The betting. What do you think the betting did here?
I was surprised that a few of the horses got out to like Score, for instance. I thought Score was a really big, juicy price at the end of the day, and I sort of launched into it and came off second best there. But it's
a great bet though. I think you made the right bet in the race.
Yeah, there was a few. I mean, Zoosonic's probably the huge flashing light out of this race.
Well, and that's backed up by the data, Peter. It's clocked the fastest last everything of this race, but they have gone so slowly to the 600 that it puts a bit of a asterisk upon all these figures.
Yep.
And again, like a lot of the horses, this is one of the only horses on the day that has run a faster last 200 than its 2 to the 4. I don't know if it's something to do with the way the track was prepared, but you don't often see so many horses that have slowed in the last 200 metres of the race, and it doesn't make any sense to me off these really slow tempos. You'd expect them to be accelerating through the line. So it just makes this meeting more of a mess to review, in my opinion.
Well, speaking of a mess, this was also the race where Piedra and Independent Road were racing as each other. So
what a shit fight.
If you backed either of them, I backed Piedra at big odds, backed it and Score, and I'm not sure I'll see my money back from Piedra.
I'm not sure. Like the next joint that does this, will they self-report? It seems the only way anything gets done is by self-reporting or getting dobbed in, and they've been fined, and no one else seems to have. Anyway, not our area. We just want to talk about what happened, what the betting did, and what we can do next start. Obviously, you can back Zoosonic, but it's going to be well found because it's such a big flashing light run. Scores in good form, running really well. I didn't think there was much else outside of them in this race.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trash race. They went so slowly up front. You can't really read too much into it outside of it, can you? No,
nothing. All
right.
Next race, the Hellova Street race. What are we calling this one? The Golden Bracelet or something? It's what's it called?
Golden Mile.
600 metres. What a tempo they set here, eh?
Look, I guess even for the class, still not particularly strong, but even. It was faster than a lot of the other races on the card, we'll put it that way.
There were only 2 other races that went quicker to the 600 on the whole card.
So by comparison, it's actually quite quick. Hellova Street, first start for Paddy Payne. Geez, he can find a horse, can't he, and just dominate from the front. Mick D.
Well, this shit me so much because I backed this horse at fucking Launceston and it couldn't win there. Fuck. Anyway, what a race. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to find out of this race? Admiral's Joker went well, had the perfect run though, up the good part of what looks to be the good part of the track. Princess Jenny back to mare's grade. I'll probably fall into it again. I pray to God it wins. Pray to God you get sort of $4 or better. I think you can follow Princess Jenny. Admiral's Joker was good for something similar. Outside of that, they cop into the stayers and as they cross the line. So Candrabad had no luck, awful, just wide and cast. Guezo did Guezo things, backed up a really good performance with a shit one. Sosi Bond probably wasn't a great ride, but is in a pretty good spot. It's always going to be that sort of price, isn't it? And Iconoclasm might half be back, but it was suited in run. So I found this race really difficult to assess, and I don't really want to stamp anything out of it. You?
No, not really. I mean, Dead Agent I thought was good going to the line from an impossible position, but, it will get back every start. So really, what are we taking out of it? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. big night out. Big night out. Clocked the fastest us everything of the last race. They walked to the 600. He's gone extremely slowly to the 600. I thought it was a bit fearless and almost a bit stupid, the ride to go up the guts on such a moral. But he got away with it, Mick D. He didn't get away with it on Friday night, which is why I was surprised he tried it again. He got stuck behind a really slow one there on Friday night, but this ended up being a great ride. Mick D had a day out. He's flying. No effort, closed off pretty well in a really slowly run race, but big night out looks impressive, and bigger things probably yet to come, Pete.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, look, again, very slow tempo. I thought Jumbo Asaki, you can follow it probably with a change of jock next up.
How hasn't D-Lane crossed and led here? Honest to God, they've got 14 lengths slow. This is why it's hard, because he's as good as anyone in Victoria, and he hasn't figured out they're walking and rolled across and led.
Yeah,
unbelievable. But there's a stack of horses here that I could fall into next start at the same time. Like if Mystico stepped right up in grade and was going to go a lot quicker, it might improve, because it's not suited at all by this walking tempo. It's a fucking on-pace beast, and it was ridden for cover like slower than a barrier trial here. So very tricky race to read and move forward from.
Yeah. Are you stamping anything from the meeting overall? Anything we haven't touched on?
I think Vanuatu will go very well next start. I thought it was a big run. Sin to win in a shitty sort of staying race. I think it's about ready to win. Skidor go to the Derby. Be fascinating. I don't know what I want to do with it. It's going to the Derby, and off such a walking tempo, it was 3 wide, no cover. Just be interested, sort of learn what that sort of setup does for that horse and for horses in general. And obviously, big night out. I think big night out's ready to win again if it wants to, if it's well placed, which it probably will be by Sads. Oh, Princess Jenny probably back to mares can be a bet.
Uninspiring, I think is the word.
Yeah, we had a viewer question which I've forgotten about for about 2 months. So let's try and answer it. And that'll be the end of the show, yeah?
Yep.
From Nathan. G'day, boys. Thanks for the time. As requested, here's a few. How do you attack your betting to meet your weekly expenses? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
It's a good question, actually. It's about getting turnover up, which is easier said than done a lot of the times. It'd be certainly easier said than done potentially over the next month. But trying to find races to attack without over betting, that's probably the key. I think we're probably gravitating towards, quite simply, horses that are going to be suited based on how we think tracks are going to play. So horses in particular that are going to settle forward in a market where there's a few favourites that are going to get back. I think they're probably the easiest races to focus on. And then really just making sure that you're ready to go at 9 a.m, happy to take the price and try and knock off as much as you can, and then trying to stake some of it back on the fair if possible, if the price has gone off.
I would. I don't think about it, because I don't think it's a healthy way to. It's not a healthy mindset to have. I just follow the process. Try and find bets. If I find them, I might bet a stack one week and not bet much the next week. We're constantly you never stop learning, and you're always tinkering and learning something new. And we're like, with the punting, it's a great thing to try. Actually, it's punningform.com.au systems. You can start to sort of build systems which will shoot out potential bets for you to filter through to get your turnover up slightly, but you're sort of sticking to your system there. The rule number one is don't force it. So you need to be betting enough, obviously, to be winning enough, but you can't just keep betting you can't bet every week just because you need a bet. You need to trust the process, find the right bets. Obviously, be betting enough that's going to make enough money, I guess. I wouldn't be looking at a weekly. Probably the word that I wouldn't be using is weekly. I'd be using like a month or 2 monthly. Are you betting to win a percentage of your bank or betting to win dollar amounts? I'm betting to win dollar amounts each bet. Pending confidence, probably have 3 levels of confidence for the amount of for how much I'd bet to win. Peter is probably identical. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I find it just an easier way. You don't get yourself confused. You're not
I've
over.
said it before. I think percentage of banks are a complete myth. I know people blow up when I say that, but it's just like if you're going to be like you need an enormous bank, in which many people, younger people, will never have. So, and then when you get the bank, you're going to really start gambling with it. Like you need to just figure out if you're good enough to make earn out of it or not.
Yep.
Do you have different staking amounts depending on confidence edge? Just like we said, so I've got 3 levels of confidence, and it goes back the same way with lays. Because if you're doing all the work, so I'm previewing each and every meeting in Victoria, just about doing the form on it. So I might find horses I think are really vulnerable. Doesn't mean I want to just go and back something else in the race. I'll be forcing that back bet. If I think this horse is vulnerable, I'll lay it. So like there was a first starter yesterday, Henry Dwyer horse. His stats are awful at sale. I didn't expect the horse to show any intent. I thought the horse had really good ability, and I marked a favourite, but I marked $3, and it was like 210 when it jumped. So I got everything I could out of it. How do you stake when trying to build your bank? I assume it's much different to how you bet now. No, my bet will be exactly the same as it always was, just about. There's no massive difference. I think what Peter spoke about before is really relevant if you want to protect your bank. If your bank's small, I bet you want to bet bigger, which is what I do. A way to manage your variance is to in-play lay at much lower odds, so you can like really skinny odds to protect yourself against like bobs and photos. So there's plenty of videos on betfair.com.au that I've done about doing exactly that. Peter, anything you'd like to add there?
No, not particularly. I think that's a good call. And then also, the only way you can learn really is by actually betting properly. If you don't get out there and actually have a crack, you're not going to find out long term. So you actually have to come up with some form of game plan and then analyze all your bets, analyze how you're betting. So are you better off level taking or what have you?
Yeah, so like Peter and I obviously work together every day, and we come up with new ideas all the time. And I'm big on we've got to be betting them to know if they're working or not, and big on keeping all the data as well. So we've got everything covered. So it's one thing to know something works, but you've got to actually live it. It's a lot harder to pull the trigger than it is to like pretend to pull the trigger. It's like playing PlayStation or playing the real sport.